All right, hi guys. This is a quick tutorial about how to do rotations by hand. You'll need a couple things. You'll need a protractor. I like to use a small square of plastic. If you don't have a small square of plastic, you'll also need a compass, which is totally doable. Just takes a little bit longer. All right, so let's talk about rotations, right? You're always going to have some sort of center of rotation. So let's say I've got this. I like to label it R. And you're going to have something to rotate. So I'm just going to make a line segment, should be proper about that. And let's label that AB because I'm not very inventive. There you go. Now this AB, this line, we're going to rotate it around the center, kind of like the hands on a clock. And it's never going to get any closer or any farther away from the center. So it's going to maintain its distance. Definition of a circle, right? It's always going to be the same radius all the way around. All right, and we have to decide. We can go two directions. We can either take this thing clockwise around, so it's going to go the way hands on a clock go, or we can go counterclockwise, so it's going to go opposite, like that. And it's always going to go around some sort of degree. A circle is 360 degrees, so it's going to go some sort around. So this first one, why don't we take it clockwise? And why don't we take it clockwise, 120 degrees. That's a pretty good turn. All right, so here we go. First thing I like to do is establish an arm, I call it. And what I'll do is I'll take the center of rotation and I'll make a line out to either point. I usually choose the closest point. So here we go. What I'm doing is I'm attaching the figure to the center. I'm attaching it. I'm making an arm out to there. And then what I'm going to do, and I want you to visualize this, I'm going to take that arm and I'm going to swing it clockwise. And it's going to pull the figure with it. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to swing it around 120 degrees. Sometimes it's hard to visualize what's going on. So now you need your protractor. I'm going to place this. This is the center of rotation. This is the center around which that arm is going to swing. So I'm going to make it the center or the vertex of the angle I'm making. 120 degrees. Let's find that. 120. It's going to be over 90. Well, right there. I'm going to make a little mark. And now I've got a reference that I can make the other side of that angle, the other leg. And some people like to make a dotted line. You can do whatever you'd like. It doesn't have to be all the way out to that dash mark. Remember, this distance is going to be maintained, so it only needs to be that long. There we go. There we go. So this right here is the amount of rotation I'm going to go. Now, if you don't have a piece of plastic, what you would do to find where B lies along this is you would take your compass and find the distance like this. And then swing that around to find point B. And then repeat the whole process for point A. And then you'd find both places. What I like to do, though, is I have a small piece of plastic and a marker that erases. And so what I do is I put that plastic over my figure. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. All right. And what I do is I mark the center, even label it. I'll mark both points. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing the plastic around until B hits that line. Because I know B's got, the image of B has to be right there. So I'm going to swing it around and it tells me where everything is. Now here comes the tricky part. What you've got to do is if you got to put your pen right on B, right on one of the points, and very carefully move the plastic away without moving your pen. This will be B prime. Now put everything back. Do the same thing with the other point. That will be A prime. And then once you've got your two figures, take a straight edge, connect the two, and there you go. This will be the image. This is called the pre-image, sometimes called the object. And there you go. We've swung that around. This distance is the same as this. I'm going to do one more example. So let's do an example where we have a whole triangle. People always ask me for that one. So again, I'll label that R, and I'm going to make, let's do a triangle. Let's put it over here. So, let's make it scaling so we can see it swing around. Alrighty. So I'm going to label this X, Y, Z. And this time let's go counterclockwise. Remember, that is opposite the way a clock goes. So I'm going to swing around this way. And let's do something smaller. Let's just swing it to 40 degrees. That's not very large. I might even come up into my picture, into my writing, and that's okay. That's not a big deal. Okay, first things first. I'm going to establish an arm out to the nearest point. So I'm going to take that X and the R, I'm going to attach it. Now this is what's going to swing around. It's going to swing 40 degrees. Going to swing 40 degrees, and it's going to carry the rest of the triangle with it. All right, so I have to measure 40 degrees. This needs to be 40 degrees. 40 degrees is pretty small. It's right here. And now I'm going to make a dotted dashed line out. Doesn't have to be very long because it's only got to be as long as that arm. Make that dashed line out. I'm going to use my small piece of plastic. You can use a compass if you'd like. All right, I'm going to mark where R is. I'm going to mark where X, Y, and Z are. And now I just have to swing. So swing that up. It's going counterclockwise. X will stop right there. Let's mark that point. Very carefully, very carefully. X prime, go back. Y prime, go back. Z prime. And let's connect the figure. And rotation should maintain their isometry, meaning that your figure stays the same shape, same size, it just moves. So let's see if we maintained isometry here. If this rotation was isometric. Yep, it was. There's my 40-degree angle. This is the image. This is the pre-image. And I'm done. All right, I hope this was helpful.